Welcome in, everybody, to a very special episode of South Bay Sports Radio. Today, I am here with the Daily Breeze's prep sports coordinator, Damian Calhoun. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Thanks for having me, Nick. Look forward to getting started here.
There we go. Today's episode is brought to you by Dietz Brothers Music, offering private lessons. Your first one is on the house. Dietz Brothers also offers group classes, band and orchestra rentals, as well as instruments for purchase. Check out their new location at the corner of Torrance Boulevard and PCH or online at dietzbrothersmusic.com. All right, Damien, let's begin with what we saw in week 0. You were at El Camino, Battle of the Juggernauts in Palos Verdes and Serra, a 26-0 Serra victory. How dominant did Khary Wilder look?
Man, super dominant. He finished with, I think, 9 tackles, 6 sacks, a bunch of quarterback hurries. He had a fumble recovery. He was all over the place. And talking to some Serra coaches, like in practice, leading up, during the summer practice and fall practice, it was the same. He was just disrupting their offense as well. He's going to be. I mean, if we had to pick a player of the year so early in the season, it would probably be him right now. He was just so dominant. Just one game against a good offensive. I mean, PV dealing with some injuries, but he just dominated their offense all night.
I remember sitting down with Guy Gardner and Ryan Rukowski over the summer, and I asked him what went into his thought process about scheduling a game like Serra, and he says, "I don't know if I was actually thinking about it. Like they're a program that's Division I, open division, consistently." How big of an early season test was this for Palos Verdes?
It was a big test. I mean, I like when teams schedule up like that. A couple years ago, PV was Division II, went down one Division V last year. I like when teams schedule like that. Two local teams. They hadn't played since 2005, I think. Just to get that matchup, it's a good matchup. But on the flip side, PV did have a couple kids leave injured. Hopefully, there's nothing too serious. But a test like that will only help them going forward in the rest of the season. I mean, they're going to face a tough Bay League, but they're not going to face another Khary Wilder anywhere. I mean, I know there's some good defensive players in the Bay League, but they won't see anybody like Khary Wilder the rest of the year.
No. Personally, I was on that Torrance-San Pedro game. Torrance won 37-13. What I saw, Torrance definitely has some athletes. Gibson Turner's a junior. Von Reinert's a junior. They both had 2 touchdowns each. Kason Presley and Von Reinhardt both had 2 touchdowns each. Gibson threw for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Torrance's defense came to play early. Reinhardt had 9 tackles. They forced San Pedro's quarterback, Seth Solorio, to find other options that weren't Elias Redlew. And Corey Walsh said, "We've got a lot of guys on offense that we can spread the ball to, but we can do a better job establishing the run and better across the board." To me, this game was one of those early season matchups that pitted a city section team against a southern section team where both of these teams have those championship aspirations. I can see San Pedro getting a lot better, as they usually do. They usually start slow, figure out who to put where, and take it from there.
Yeah, that's sort of their motto, right? They schedule tough, and then once they get in the Marine League and City Section, I mean, they're going to be tough to handle. I'm intrigued by that Torrance offense. I'm gonna get a look at them this weekend. Pass for like almost 400 yards. I'm looking forward to seeing their offense and get to work on Friday.
We're going to preview that game in just a little bit, but first we're going to go into the Week 1 games. Starting with Thursday's games, we've got a pair of new Marine League coaches. First, we're going to start with Carson. William Lowe makes his debut against Dorsey, who is coached by USC product Stefan Johnson.
Yeah, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Lowe expects this to be a fun matchup and said the Colts need to come out and focus on what they do best, execute, and be sharp. He's not overlooking Dorsey, even saying they have a lot of expectations coming into the season. What do you know about Carson?
Yeah, this is going to be their home debut. They had a tough opener against Villa Park, one of the traditionally tough teams in Orange County. Carson had to lead late, and Villa Park scored a late touchdown to pull away to win the game. Even in a loss, that's a pretty impressive performance there. Having worked in Orange County, I know how tough Villa Park program is. Looking forward to seeing Chris Fields at quarterback. I think he's finished with like 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. So I'm looking to see how he runs that offense. Second year at Carson, but first year in a new offense. From last year to this year, changed the offense up a little bit. I'm looking forward to seeing them. They still got some young, talented athletes out there as well. Kingston Sula, freshman DN. I think he had like almost 2 sacks, 1.5 sacks. There's a sophomore linebacker, Preston Leomidi. I think he had like 12 tackles. And then there's Xavier Allen, who started at both football and baseball last year. So looking forward to seeing him tonight.
You're going to be on that game tonight?
Yeah, I'll be there tonight, 7:30.
7:30, Carson High. In another game tonight, we've got Nate Hollister making his Banning home debut against Huntington Park, and he told me he is fired up. Now, Hollister was recently on the pilot staff from 2021 to 2022 as the pass game coordinator, and I asked him what he's looking forward to, and he said, seeing our guys play our brand of football. He told me that the team has worked hard to build a physical identity, and he's excited for the community to see that effort come to life. He told me that this is a mixture of that old school Banning power football and new era playmakers. What's the biggest thing that stood out to you when you talked to Coach over the offseason?
He sent me his list of players to watch, and the name Cody Galloway still there. I think he's the third brother in that long line of from Jacob to Keyshawn. He's still running around there. Nathan Grebb, I think he had a big game the other night. A couple big offensive linemen. That's Banning football, right? We've seen over the years the big old lines. Everything starts up front. So if they're going to work in some passing attack too, they had a pretty good passing game with Guerrero was there a couple years ago. Let's see how they work it in this year. But up front they're gonna lean on their O line. I know Huntington Park had a tough game last week in their opener. So let's see if Banning can take advantage of some openings and pull the win out. We'll have David Rice at that game tonight, 7:30.
There we go, David Rice. Here's a question that might not get asked. You've got Banning's band, you've got Inglewood's band. Which one has more flair? Which one kind of pumps the crowd up more?
It's Banning, hands down. I mean, that's the star of the show, right? But Inglewood's pretty good too. But I think Banning's the top, one of the best I've seen covering high school football in all these years.
I remember covering Inglewood at Coleman Stadium years ago, and I'm hearing the band coming through the neighborhood, thinking to myself, what's going on? Are we having a party? And then all of a sudden, here comes the band coming through the gate on the track and putting on a performance. And Banning does the same thing. So they do have a lot of pride in their in that band.
Yeah.
Friday's game, you've got me on a 3:30 start. Palos Verdes hosts Aiea of Hawaii. Aiea is 3 games into its season and has put up 137 points. In true Guy Gardner fashion, he told me he's looking to see if our guys are better at the basic fundamentals of the game: blocking, tackling, running, etc. They got shut out for the first time in a while against Serra, but where is the ceiling for this team?
For Banning, Palos Verdes. It's so tough. They're gonna play a tough non-league, of course. I think they got Carson next week. Then they play Edison from Orange County. I think there's one more before league starts. And then league play, it's going to be tough. I mean, Inglewood, they're 0-2, but they're still getting guys cleared, and they haven't hit their peak yet. Costa's always going to be tough. They play a tough schedule. Leuzinger, they beat Long Beach Poly. They're going to be tough. Like I said, if with Ryan Rakowski, you think PV has an edge over anybody else in that league. The kid is just smart. He does it all. Last year's Daily Breeze Player of the Year. That's a good starting point. If they can get guys healthy, there's a couple of names that I didn't see last week on the stat sheet. They get guys healthy. I think they'll be in the fight for the Bay League title. At linebacker, Weston Reese was all over the place. He had like 15 tackles the other night. Kid was flying around from the opening kickoff. So they're going to be okay. They might go through some pains early. The team from Hawaii has already played 3 games, so they're ahead of the curve for sure. So let's see what are the next steps PV can take from last week to this week.
It will definitely be interesting. Guy Gardner actually chuckled. He said it'll definitely be flip-flop weather, Nick, so don't be afraid. In a rivalry game, we've got Torrance visiting West Torrance. We already talked about Torrance being loaded on both sides of the ball, but Raymond Carter told me that records don't matter in a rivalry game. These games can go either way, and last year's game went to overtime. The biggest thing he's looking forward to is consistency. But the question that he has for his squad is, coming off a big win, how can we stay hungry for more? Todd Butler, the West coach, said the Warriors' game plan revolves around executing in the important situations, taking care of the ball on offense, creating turnovers on defense, and being great on third down and in red zone opportunities. What are you looking for out of this game?
Like I say, it's a rivalry game, but it's the first game for West, and teams that don't play week 0 sort of struggle early in week 1. So let's see if West can come out, avoid the mistakes early, and apparently can they slow down Torrance. I mean, to put up that many points and yards on a tough San Pedro defense, that's going to be a big test for West. But like I say, it's a rivalry game. Last game went to overtime. We hope that's not the case this week. But let's see if West can really battle in here and keep the game close and maybe pull out the win. We'll see. I'll be there for that game too. I haven't seen Torrance play in a couple years.
There you go. That'll be a good one. Hopefully it's not too cold for you either.
Ooh, I forgot about that. I got a jacket in the car.
There we go.
West and South. Oh, man.
West, South, Redondo, Costa.
Woo.
Close to the beach. You gotta make sure you bring your hoodie.
Yeah.
Redondo travels to Orange County to face El Dorado at Valencia of Placentia High School. I talked to Keith Elliston, and he says the Seahawks need to be a more physical team, not just this week, but throughout the season. They've got a lot of new faces on defense and some unproven players on offense. So he's looking forward to seeing if these guys can dominate, especially up front. Year 2, Cole Leinart. What can we expect from this Seahawk team?
Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to seeing Cole first full season. Got a bunch of athletes, playmakers on the outside. All area returner Bo Osmus is back. I think they got 4 of the 5 starting O linemen back. I think their offense is going to be pretty good. So we'll see who develops on the defensive side. I know linebacker Brock Herrera is back there. They got a bunch of talented DBs and linebackers. So let's see how the defense develops, and if the offense is should be one of the best in the South Bay.
There we go, especially with young Leinart, who is already committed to TCU or Southern Methodist?
SMU.
Yeah. I was close. Palmdale comes to Leuzinger. Max Preps has Leuzinger as the top-rated team in the area. We've got them as number 2. I asked Jason Miller what makes the Olympians so dangerous, and he said, we have a true brotherhood built on early morning workouts and total commitment. He said the program has become more balanced without concentrating on stats. What's the biggest thing about Leuzinger that you've noticed over the last couple of years that's turned them into one of the better teams in the area?
Starts up front. Big O-line. Last year, dominant O-line. And then they had Jeremy Tonga went for, almost 2,300 yards last year. Some of those same linemen are back. Blake Graham, I rated him. I had him at the top lineman in the South Bay this season. Then their defense. I mean, to hold Long Beach Poly to only 3 points, that says a lot about what they can do on the defensive side. Led by linebacker D-edge Samu Moala is going to Texas A&M. And they got some other kids. Jalen Cox, transfer over from St. John Bosco, is good on the D-line. They got a lot of kids in the secondary. Sophomore, Pole Moala, only sophomore. So he's another one to watch back there. A lot of talent on that Leuzinger team.
Coach Miller also said his offensive and defensive coordinators are in their first year, and they're both eager to do well. Of the games we didn't cover and the teams we didn't talk about, what team has the biggest chance? What team has a chance to make the most noise in the South Bay Harbor area this season?
The Costa game, they're playing St. Francis. They play every year, I think. It's always a high scoring game. Don Morrow said he has a lot, like 7 or 8 defensive starters returning, which is something different, I think, from past teams. So that's a team and game to look out for. One team I'm sort of intrigued about is Mary Star. They returned the quarterback Tanner Rollins. I think they were D12 last year. They got some transfers in from schools, from the South Bay schools and St. John Bosco as well. Is there a jump for them? Are they going to make a jump from 12 to 7 or something like that? You never know when until the playoff rankings come out. That's a team that I'm sort of keep my eye on this season as well.
I agree. Costa and Mary Star, those are both two programs that kind of fly under the radar with all of the teams we talk about, Serra, Leuzinger, Palos Verdes, but they're not to be taken lightly. I know Costa's always got guys, they have 1 down year and then 7 up years. They're recently CIF champions. And then Mary Star, of course, you said Tanner Rollins. They've got a new field on their campus, so they're looking forward to showing that off, playing under the lights with the harbor in the background. I want to switch over to new faces in familiar places. We touched on Coach Lowe and Hollister already, but here's some others. We've got Michael Wagner at Peninsula. Doug Bledsoe takes over at Narbonne. Thomas Williams is at Gardena, and Cameron Graham is at Westchester. Of these 6, which do you think will have the most success?
It's a tough one. Man. I think Carson. I think Carson, if you had to rank the Marine League teams, either them or San Pedro, I think will be like an open division team. But then again, every year, maybe 3 or 4 Marine League teams get into the open division. But I think Lowe stepping into a pretty good situation at Carson. I mean, of course, some kids left, some kids came in. A good foundation with Chris Fields at quarterback. I think he might have the best overall season.
What do we know about the situation at Narbonne and what Doug Bledsoe's coming into?
It's coming into a tough non-league schedule, that's for sure. They're pretty much – there's a couple kids that stayed, but those kids, a lot of kids scattered all over the place. And they played who did they open up with? I forgot who they opened up with last week, but this week they played Los Alamitos, and that's a tough one. They just got to build something until they get to league. But yeah, they're walking to a tough non-league schedule with some kids with a roster that's not like the Narbonne rosters in the past. That's for sure.
We are going to switch over to Bishop Montgomery. We found out that they will not be playing against Mater Dei tomorrow night. Next up on the schedule is Leuzinger next Friday, September 5th. How many players in total were suspended from that game in Hawaii?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't even have the numbers. There were so many of them that there's out there somewhere. But that whole situation was just wild. They didn't have a lot of kids anyway because there's a lot of kids that are still trying to get cleared. And, of course, the 5 kids who were denied, that ruled ineligible. So the hope is that they're ready to have a roster for next week. We'll do some more digging into that as we get into next week and see will they fill the team. But that whole situation has been just wild from, I guess, late spring until now.
They've got a tough go after Leuzinger. They play at Hart, then at Pacifica before league play begins. Is there any inclination that this is going to be a season of hope for Bishop Montgomery fans, or is this something that it's going to be a week-by-week trial by fire?
Wow. What they've done is they put themselves under a spotlight, for sure. now the case is with CIF, just you're in CIF's targets really. You can't. There are no more freebies really, right? I mean, you can if there's another altercation or whatever. What does that do to your season? Um, yeah, it's just going to be just just something to watch all year. I know they've had a lot of change over there from the top to the coaching staff. Head coach is still there, but it's just a situation that will be watched all year long. Like they always say, if it's not broke, don't try and fix it, right? Or something. However that goes, and then the program. Sometimes your program, there's nothing wrong with winning playing for a Division 13, Division 14 title. I mean, you're winning a title, you're playing for a title. But to try and make a big jump as they've tried to do, that just throws up red flags everywhere.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's been interesting for me, especially being an alumni of Bishop Montgomery, to see the amount of transfers that have come in, and at the rate that they came in. While it's something that is a head scratcher, and there's been talk about what could possibly happen, there was excitement. I was excited to see the football program be a little bit more respected, but not to be looked at in a way where the honor and the integrity were taken out of it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go into any more of it because the last thing I want to do is make them not like me. Flag.
But there's no denying what's I know you went there. I didn't go there, so I guess I can speak my mind a little bit. But but yeah, it's just a situation that will be watched. Again. I mean, I check the CIF transfer site pretty much every day. I haven't checked it today to see if there's any update, but there are a bunch of kids who are still not cleared. Their status is either holding, processing, incomplete. So, I mean, will those kids get cleared? Some people around the South Bay think they won't. But I guess we'll see.
And it's also tough because now you've got 5 players who are out for any sport for the rest of the year and then possibly the next season as well. So you're not only facing a 1 year, but 2 years. And if you're a sophomore or junior, your high school career is basically over. Yeah,
you would have to move out of state.
And even then, you've got a spotlight on you because why are you moving out of state?
Yeah. So, yeah, the transfer game, I mean, it's just wild where it's come, what it's grown to. Like I started at the Orange County Register. My first year was 2003, I think. It's a long time ago. To see what it's become now is it's mind-boggling, really. Of course, kids are going to transfer. I mean, that's known, really. But people saying, can you stop it? Can you slow it down? I don't know. That's up to CIF to come up with something to slow it down, really. But they just, I never want to say, oh, you should stay here. You shouldn't go there. You should do that. If you do it right, good. Go ahead and play. But there's some kind of weird circumstances while you're moving, then it's like, okay, no, we got to stop this, really. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
1 week at a time.
Yeah.
1 week at a time. All right. Flag football, because it's become such a big sport in our area and in California in general, and it will be in the Olympics in 2028. We've got the 3rd annual LA City Girls Flag Football Classic at Narbonne. Pool A has City Section Open Division runner-up Narbonne as well as Palos Verdes. And I talked to Coach Cheryl Holmes, and she said she's excited for this installment with the level of competition that will be showcased. The environment will be top tier with some of the best programs in the city participating. Torrance is back. They won the first championship. San Pedro won last year. And aside from those 2 teams, there are 7 other area teams, including Banning, Redondo, Leuzinger, Carson, and Inglewood. All games are played at Narbonne. I will be at the championship Saturday at 4:30. But what have you seen, Damian, in regard to the evolution of flag football over the last few years?
Yeah, it's exploded. That's probably the best way to explain it. First year, I think the city section went first, made it the playoffs first year, and we saw San Pedro make a run to the finals. Then the next year, everybody else came on board. San Pedro still was probably the best team around. Now it's pretty much you could probably count your hand how many schools don't have flag football. That the top, San Pedro's the city section is it's still exploding there. Carson, I think this is Carson's second year. Banning's might be their second year as well. We had Narbonne and Banning win city titles last year. It's just exploding. Like I said, it's in the Olympics. Yeah, I don't know. There's always something. There's always a point where things reaches and then it sort of levels off. But according to these numbers that CIF put out maybe a couple weeks ago about the participation, flag football is just exploding. That's probably the best way to explain it.
There was one thing I saw while scrolling through Twitter the other day was flag football being played in the fall and field times being something to juggle with. I took this and I thought about it for myself because, of course, I've been covering sports in the area for the better part of 15 years. You've got football is the biggest thing in the fall. In the winter, you've got soccer, both male and female. In the spring, you've got lacrosse, both male and female. But is there, to me, football is synonymous with the fall. Do you feel that flag football should be played in another season with all three levels of tackle football being played at the same time? Or do you feel that the fall is the best time for it?
I think the fall might be the best time because the fall, well, what do we have? Of course, we have football, of course, cross country, girls volleyball, and girls water polo?
Boys.
One of the water polos. Sorry about that. I think it's girls water polo.
Boys is in the fall, girls is in the spring.
I'm confused.
Boys is in the winter. Boys is in the winter. Girls is in the summer. There's no water polo. There's no water polo right now.
Oh, there's water polo right now. There's a tournament this weekend. Girls water
boys. Polo. It's boys. My bad. My mistake. Yeah, because it's boys water polo, girls water polo, and then swimming and diving.
Yeah. Let's everybody know how busy our year is. It's pretty crazy from year to year. Yeah, I think this is the best time really because the winter is so many sports in the winter, and then the spring it's ridiculous how many sports there are in the spring. And I think for the sanity of all athletic directors, the fall might be the best time to do it because also there are girls who play in the winter. There's basketball players, there's soccer players in the spring. I know Carson has a lot of softball players who play in it. I mean, there's softball players who play flag football as well.
Torrance's quarterback is their starting catcher.
Yeah. I know there's some soccer players on Torrance team as well. I think the fall might be the best part of the year to do it. You don't want kids to have to do so many sports. There are kids who are doing different two sports in the winter or the spring anyway, so you don't want them to have to do three sports in one semester.
No. I've definitely talked with one athletic director, Lauren Kamiyama at North Torrance, and she said while it was so much, everybody understood because she went from playing soccer to playing basketball, and then she played softball in the spring. So I know it's a lot, especially on the parents who are doing mom taxi, dad taxi. I'm in the thick of it with the dad taxi, so I definitely understand. You don't want to overwhelm your child, but you also want them to get the best experience that they can get.
Yeah. And also, boys water polos in the fall. Nailed it.
Yeah. There we go. All right. We're going to wrap. Rapid fire, Damian Calhoun. Your favorite sport to cover?
High school or pro? Because I also cover professional soccer, if nobody knows out there. High school?
Let's go high school.
Okay. I think it still might be soccer. Let's go with basketball because that's indoors. There are certain times of the year when you're in the South Bay, you're looking forward to basketball season because you're indoors. When I was in Orange County, I looked forward to the winter because I covered wrestling and I was indoors. So let's go with basketball.
Who have been some of your favorite players and coaches to cover?
My whole career. Let's go the whole career. Wow. I covered Matt Barkley's junior season, I think, at Mater Dei. His biggest season, I think, was in his senior season, I think, when he went off for he had a crazy year. That was a great season to cover. I saw Klay Thompson at Santa Margarita play a lot. Let's see who else. Girls basketball, the Samuelson sisters. I think they're all, at least two are in the WNBA right now. When they were at Mater Dei, they were great to watch play. So dominant. I think Katie Lou was the last one I covered there at Mater Dei. Soccer-wise, recently Grace Watkins was at Costa. She's now at Utah. And Redondo Mia Minestrella, who was my player of the year for 2 years in a row because she just dominated, scored 20 goals a year. She's at Duke right now.
Top 3 sports movies.
Top 3 sports movies. Whew. Does Rocky count?
Rocky counts. Boxing's a sport.
Rocky 4 is my favorite Rocky movie. Let's see what else I can throw out there. This is tough. Remember the Titans was okay, but after a while I got sort of tired of it though. It's okay, it's there. Was it the program?
The program.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. And hey, the original Bad News Bears. It's not kid friendly. but yeah, that's another one there. It's funny.
I'm gonna hit you with the toughest one of them all.
All right.
A movie is being made about your life. Who plays you?
Oh my God! I don't want to open up any can of worms here, but back when I was in when I was in college at El Camino, everybody said I looked like Darius Rucker. I hated it because everywhere I went, everybody called me Hootie all the time. I was like, dude, can you guys stop just because I'm the black guy? Come on now. Yeah, let's go with that. I might be the only guy. I got that so many times, but yeah, it might be him. Sorry, Darius.
I'm going to be surprised if anybody calls you Darius Rucker. If anybody's tuned into this and says that, I will definitely be surprised. All right, last one. I want to know your go-to South Bay eatery and your favorite dish there.
Oh man, that's one thing I haven't really done since I've been in the South Bay is going around trying out new places. I got to do better at that. I don't really have one. Sorry, South Bay community.
All right, we're going to come back to that. We will do this again. Damian, thank you again for your time. Looking forward to another fun football season. And thank you again, Dietz Brothers. Thank you again, Damian. Thank you again, Daily Breeze.
All right, thanks for having me.
Beautiful.